All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Pecans, Pumpkins, and Margo. We are celebrating our 5th year together and excited to share that another program that we're going to call Christmas Goes Nuts will be coming soon. We're not sure the date yet, but we'll keep you posted on that. Couple of things. First, I'd like to ask that you keep yourself muted until you are ready to ask a question so that it just doesn't distract too much, but feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions throughout the program. This program is being recorded, so if you want to go back and rewatch any of it, you can, or let other people know that the program is out there and they can watch it whenever they would like to, as well as it's posted or will be posted out on our website probably in the next day or two. Also, we will be having a drawing for Great British Baking Show DVD. I've been writing down all of your names, and then we will have that drawing at the end of the program. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Margo, and she's going to take us through how she makes her pecan bars and her pumpkin bars.
Thanks, Stacy. Hello, everybody. You know what? I want you to each say who you are. So, because I can't see all of you unless you speak. So I just want to see who's here. So Cindy, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Cindy. Glad to be here.
Anybody else?
This is Mary Jane Rasmussen. Hi, Margo.
I'm Mary Jane.
Julie LeCaptain. Hi, Margo.
Hello, Julie.
Hey, Margo, Corey Cabista and John Yorty are also here watching and hoping to learn.
Hi, guys.
Carol Wise from Wabasha, but I'm in Rochester because I have a doctor's or a dentist appointment at 11, so I'm in my car. But
Awesome. Thank you, Carol.
Hi, I'm
Linda
Dawn
Ordorf.
Erickson. I'm from Red Wing.
Hello.
Linda Ordorf from
Hi.
Lake City here.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Ashley Pomeroy from Lake City is also on.
Hi.
My name is Sherry McGinnis, and my daughter Pippa and I are watching in Lake City.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Margo. I'm Jan. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
Jan. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
I think maybe we have everybody.
Yep, I think that's it.
Okay. So as Stacy said, this can be clicked on at any time afterwards, and so it's available on the website. I don't know, Stacy, did you mention how many years we've been doing this?
I think.
Okay. So this is not the first rodeo on this show. So this is the second time that we're doing this on Zoom. I just want to welcome you to my home. This is the first time that we've done it here. We have done these classes at our shop that we owned for 15 years. We no longer own. And we had it live. And so some of you, or Julie, you've been there. Other people have been there when we've done them live. And it was really interactive and fun, but we want to make this interactive too. So if you have questions or there's something that you want to share, or maybe a family story, that was kind of part of the charm of doing it in person, because people kind of brought back their memories and things of times where they had a fun time with their family or a special recipe. So hopefully we can emulate that a little bit here today. I'm really happy to welcome you to our home. This house, we've been here for 31 years. This house is 130 years old. We are only the third owner, which we feel really fortunate. And the folks that lived here, Harry and Elvira Sprick that lived here before us, had no children. They lived here for 50 years with no kids. And so when we moved our 4 kids in here, it was pretty crazy. We've enjoyed living here, and the kids enjoy coming back. When I moved in this kitchen, this tiny little kitchen, there was one cupboard and a peeling linoleum countertop with an old farm sink. And so that was how we started here. I wondered where I was going to put all the cereal for the kids, but we figured it out over the years. So I welcome you to our home, and I have a few other little tips that I want to talk to you about before you get started with baking. And I really want you to work at extending your kitchen to your kids and grandkids, nieces and nephews, and to try to teach them the science of baking. And to do that, the easiest thing to do before you meet with them or before they come is to get everything prepped up ahead of time, making sure that you have things ready so that you can interact with them quickly. You're not running to the cupboard to get something. You're not throwing something in the dishwasher. You've got it all organized and ready to go. One of the other things that I strongly suggest that you do is have a sink full of soapy water, so that instead of having to have a mess when you're done, everything's in the sink, it's tidy. You can go have a coffee after that, come back and clean it up later. So, and I think part of the organization of that is I had to do that at our shop for many, many years. And so outside of the fact that I was making food for hundreds of people, now we're making food for a few people. So when I sold the shop, part of that is you sell all the equipment that goes along with it. And so I had to really put some thought to what is it that I need once I get home that I'm not going to have. And so I've got a couple suggestions for you here. These are the pans that I strongly suggest that you take a look at. If you don't have pans, or you'd like to get some new pans, these are from Rochester Restaurant. This is an 18 by 13. This is a 9 by 13. So it's a half size. Today we're going to use the 18 by 13 for the pumpkin bars, and for the caramel bars, we're going to use the 9 by 13. And these are just amazing. They're very inexpensive. And they also have another really cool feature that you can also purchase these lids. And these lids, and I'm not doing a commercial for them, it's just that this is so cool. So these lids are inexpensive. They're like $5 a piece, something along that line, but they're also at Rochester Restaurant. What's really great about these, they're stackable. And so if you're looking at holiday baking and you want a place to put all your goodies, and you can stack everything up in your garage if you have a garage refrigerator. I also put cookies in these and store cookies in these. Sometimes these lids aren't real tight, and sometimes they are. They've gotten better over the years, but this is a must-have if you are going to do any baking for the holidays. One of the other things I want to share with you is, and Cindy and I were talking about this before you all came on, she's making the vanilla, and I've often said that you need to marinate this for 2 to 4 months, and I'm finding that I'm in the need of this right now. We've only had it marinating for a month, but it looks really good. Well, of course, you're not going to dispense vanilla out of here. So this is absolute vodka with Pecans vanilla beans. And they are, Pecans is located in the Twin Cities, but it's also online. So you can order online, and they ship everything. It's just beautifully to you. This is, people say, what is vanilla made of? It is vodka and vanilla beans. That's it. Totally. And there's no drinking this. So this is off limits for any drinking. So I'm going to dispense it into this container. This is about $2 at Rochester Restaurant, and it seals up very nicely. We're just going to dispense some in here so I can use it today. I was just saying earlier that I go through one at my shop. I go through one of these bottles every 2 weeks with my baking. It sounds like a lot, but I baked a lot. And those of you that have been at the shop will know that I baked a lot. So now we're set. We've got our soapy water over here. I'm not throwing stuff across the room. I really am throwing it in the soapy water. So we're ready to go. I'm going to prepare my pan. I'm going to spray it with a little pan. We're going to start with the pumpkin bars. They need to be in the oven a little bit longer, and so we're going to start with the pumpkin bars. I was never a pan fan. I just didn't think you needed it. I thought it was like butter fuzz. But my sister used it all the time, and she never had messy pans after that. So I have adopted the practice of doing that. And the pumpkin bars are kind of like cake-like. And so it's important to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom, and so they are easy to retrieve. So what I talked about earlier is that we're looking at having everything ready to go. I've taught the science of baking to all my grandkids, and when they were little, I let them crack the eggs. We lost a lot of eggs. It's okay. They didn't like the feel of the eggs to begin with, and now they're all pros. And we have some grandkids going to homecoming. So it's been beyond belief at how fast time really goes. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of canola oil. And I like canola oil because it's really a neutral oil. And I kind of use it in everything. I know some people like olive oil and some people like vegetable oil, but canola oil is my go-to. I'm also going to put in 6 eggs. I crack them ahead of time to make sure that we don't have any shells. It's going to sound like a lot of sugar, but this is a lot of pumpkin. And pumpkin is a vegetable. So it's going to be 2 2/3 cup of sugar. And then we're going to put a little vanilla in there, a couple teaspoons of vanilla. And yes, I just squirted. So at this time, and I'm not using the mixer. You're noticing I'm not using the mixer. I'm not going to use the mixer for either one of these bars. I want to kind of bring us back to just having fun with baking and being relaxed. And, the mixer is when you're busy. I am going to use the mixer for the frosting because that's how you dominate cream cheese. I'm also going to add 2/3 of a can of the pumpkin. Any pumpkin's fine. I like the pumpkin pie mix. It's pumpkin pie ready. The pumpkin can handle a lot of spice. And so I like the consistency of this, but you can use any pumpkin that you want. 2/3, you can tell there's little lines in here and you can kind of tell what is 2/3. Then you have 1/3 of a can left. And I say, just save it and make pumpkin pancakes, or you can make pumpkin bread, and it'll keep for a long time in the fridge. So
Margo, I'm going to interrupt just for a quick second and just remind everybody that if they would like copies of the recipes that you're making today, I will post it along with the video. There'll be a link to those. Otherwise, what I'll also do right now is with the chat feature, I'll just provide everybody with my Selco email address, and I can always email to them directly as well.
awesome. Thank you, Stacey.
Yeah, they just need to contact me.
And if you need Stacey's email address, just let us know. So I'm just going to gently whisk all of this because I don't want it all over myself. I'm wearing the Martha Stewart shirt of the 90s. Some of you that worked with me, Jan, you'll recognize the shirt, the blouse. You recognize it? Sure. I had one in every color. Back when we wore suits. Yep, goes the splash. Once this comes together, we're going to add the spices. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about spices, and I'm going to be a little bit of a snob about this. I really love Penzi spices. I have done a sniff test on regular spices and Penzi spices, and there's nothing at all that even comes close to the quality and the ingredients. Also, when you get the recipe, it's going to say 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I'm going to add something a little bit different today. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I don't know that you're actually going to go out and buy the spice I'm suggesting, but because you won't use a lot of it, but it is really incredibly good, and it makes these just something different. And I think that's the appeal. I don't even know how many of these we've sold or given away. I can't even begin to tell you. This is something where if you're not a sweet lover, there's something about these that you suddenly fall in love with. And so I think it might be the frosting, but we'll see. So it's going to take 3 teaspoons, and this is a 2 teaspoon spoon. And so I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of baking soda, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, I'm also going to add, this is probably the best cinnamon on the face of the earth. This is Vietnamese cinnamon. It's strong and it's absolutely fabulous. I'm going to add a little over 2 teaspoons of Vietnamese cinnamon. Then I'm going to add the secret ingredient, which is baking spices. This is called baking spice. And to me, it has a real European flair to it. There's Ceylon cinnamon, there's anise, there is mace, there is cardamom, there's all sorts of things. I had a young girl that worked with us this summer who is at the U right now, and she talked to me a lot about her culture. She has a Croatian culture, and she talked to me a lot about her mom and her baking. And we all both decided her mother would love this spice. It's something I can suggest to you. I also purchased mace. Mace is the ground up shell of the nutmeg. So it is very expensive, and I only buy a little tiny container, and I use it sparingly, but it adds such a deep flavor to your fall baking, your winter baking. And I do have that. I haven't used it yet because there's mace in here. So now you want to make sure you whisk in these dry ingredients, and I don't put it in with the flour because I'm going to fold in the flour and I want to whisk in the spices. So with that being said, I'm going to start to add the flour. Now there's going to be 3 cups of flour. And I'm in the cloud of flour. At the same time I'm doing this, I'm going to add another form of spice. This is Hershey cinnamon chips. These are a must. And sometimes when people are eating these, they'll say, is there a nut in here? Because they have a little bit of a crunch. But this is cinnamon chips, and they're sweet. And so they add a little level of sweetness. Pumpkin is a vegetable. And so we really do need to add that little touch of sweetness besides the sugar. So we're going to fold this in. Doesn't take long. You think, oh my gosh, why aren't you using the mixer? It's going to take forever. It doesn't take long at all. This is a very big base. And remember, you can make these in the half sheet too. If you get the recipes from Stacy, they cut in half beautifully, just absolutely perfect. And then we will make the next Pecan Bars in a half sheet. So this is the time of year for pumpkins. So we've got a few more weeks of it, and then we're going to be tired of it maybe. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Yes.
What size canned pumpkin did you use? How many ounces?
That is the biggie. I'm going to tell you. It is the 30 something. 30 ounce. 30 ounce. And so the little, if you're making a half pan, you can get the little can. But this one, I think they only make the pie ready in the Libby's pumpkin in the big can. But you can use that pumpkin, the excess pumpkin, for other things. People love pumpkin pancakes, waffles, throw some pecans in there. Ooh, that would be good. Okay, this is now thoroughly mixed. We're gonna add it to the pan. Haven't gotten any on me yet, but this is going to be the test right now.
With the baking spice, how many teaspoons? How many?
You know what, I use 2. I use 2.
Okay.
And that is deceiving because this little spoon is a 2 teaspoon spoon. So
okay.
Again, I put everything in the soapy water over there. It's awesome. You don't have to look at it, think about it. Look at my table's getting clear up here. Now we're going to put this in the oven. I'm going to walk away for a second. My oven's on the other side of this small room. I set my convection oven at 325. And it'll take 35 minutes. And it's best not to open the oven or turn it around, because what's really unique about this recipe is how many people have watched their pumpkin pie in the oven. Have you ever watched your pumpkin pie in the oven?
Yep,
Where it bubbles up,
yep.
has a little volcano action going? These bars do the same thing.
Mhm.
So I kind of feel like, of course, I'm impatient and I have that personality. So I'm always checking everything. And I've learned just to let it go. Just smell test, smell when it's done. Because honestly, they turn out better if you just don't peek at them. But they do bubble up and you can hear just the bubbling action. It's really fascinating. Any other questions on the pumpkin bars so far? We're gonna frost those a little bit later.
Margo,
For your vanilla, how many vanilla beans in the bottle of vodka?
There's 6, and it's hard to
6.
see. I'm gonna bring that back over. They're very expensive. They're Madagascar vanilla beans, by the way. They are not Mexican vanilla beans. I prefer this. I'm gonna get this a little closer to the camera, and you might be able to see the beans in there floating
Mhm.
around. We slit them open so
Okay.
that the seeds are exposed.
And how long does it have to marinate?
You know what? This is only a month. I would say 2 to 4. Ina Garten on Barefoot Contessa says 2 to 4 months. She used to say 4 to 6. So in the beginning, we had to all winter long, when I owned the shop, we had to make this stuff all winter. Like if I go through one of these every 2 weeks, that's a lot of this. And so
Yes.
it's a big investment, but it's also much cheaper than just trying to get over the counter vanilla.
How large is that bottle of vodka?
1.75 liter.
Okay, thank
And if you give it as gifts, Crate and Barrel has these cute little creamers with a little plastic lid. It's just it's shaped like a creamer container. And you can dispense it and then put a little bow on it and give it as gifts. People will, it's just, those of you that have been at the shop and have smelled it, because it's one of the things when you come to the shop, I stick it in your nose. So you have to smell it. You'll know that it smells so fantastic. I am a little bit of a snob about this too. You're gonna leave this today saying, man, she's really a snob. But if you're gonna bake, do it well, and do it and make it lovely. I think it's important. The quality of ingredients is important. So for the millions of cookies I've made over the years and bars, I'm very proud of the quality of ingredients that we've used. So we're gonna go on to make, the little pan is gonna be our milk chocolate pecan caramel bars.
Margo, can I stop you quick and ask one question?
Yes,
I was wondering on the cinnamon chips, can you like over bake them or so they're no longer, they sort of dissipate? Is that a concern?
they
ever?
do. I think that's why I put them in with the flour, so I can coat them with the flour so they don't bake down and out. If you put them in at the end and if you don't coat them with the flour, they may go away. But there is a little hint of them in there. When you bake stuff for 35 minutes, it's a long time, so you run the risk that it will melt. But it just still adds that really neat cinnamon sweetness.
All right, thank you.
So I'm getting you can see my ingredients are kind of all prepped up. One of the things that you need to do is the caramel needs to be thickened. I'm going to kind of show you about that. The caramel needs to be thickened. This is a 3/4 cup, and I always use a little bit more than that because that's what I do. And so we're going to do, normally you would do 3 tablespoons, a cup and a half of this if you were doing the double. So when you look at the recipe, cut everything in half. So then we're just going to do 1 tablespoon. So this is a tablespoon and a half scoop. And this thickens this.
What did you just put in?
I did. I just made a mistake. Thank you for catching it. What did I do? Did you see it? What did I do? I put baking soda in it. So I scooped it out into my soapy water, and now I'm adding the flour. That's what happens when you do stuff live. So we're gonna whisk it up. Does everybody have one of these little dudes? You need one. So the flour will thicken this up and we'll just let it sit until we're ready for it. And we're gonna put the nuts and the chocolate chips. I also only use Ghirardelli chocolate. Ghirardelli chocolate is the best chocolate, and it is the chips are a little bit bigger, and so they're a little bit prettier when you're baking. So we're going to start with 3/4 cup of butter, and we are going to add a cup of flour. We're going to add 3/4 cup of brown sugar. You might look at my brown sugar and say it looks variegated. I put layers of dark brown sugar and light brown sugar, just number one, to make it look pretty in the container, but also to have a little bit more molasses with the dark brown sugar. We're gonna put a cup of oatmeal. I wanna tell you a little story about this recipe. Some of you know me know that I worked at the Mustard House in Rochester back right out of high school in 1972. That's a long time ago. The Mustard House was located on 1st Street Southwest, halfway between downtown Mayo Building and St. Mary's Hospital. And there was a market called Ollie's Market. Cindy, you probably remember that. And it was a family-owned grocery store. It's now where the parking lot is for the synagogue, right on 2nd Street. It's in the back of that. Next to it was a Victorian house, and Ollie Marquardt owned Ollie's grocery, and his wife owned the Mustard House, and she was the first real caterer. She was kind of the pioneer of catering in Rochester, and I was really good friends with her daughter, Sue Marquardt, and she invited me in to work there one summer. And this recipe is from that very place. This is their beloved Aunt Marnie's recipe, and I've been using this for years. Was there a question?
Hang on. I'm on mute, so it's okay. But
I can hear you. This is also something I'm not doing with a mixer. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, the real deal, baking soda. What's going to happen with that is this turns into a little pillow top mattress in the oven. I'm doing these little sort of analogies so it gives you a visual, because you're not sitting here with me. I wish you were, but you're not. And I don't spray this pan because there's a lot of butter in this. Now, I'm going to take, we're going over to the soapy water tub.
Margo,
Yes.
this is Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. I'm surprised by your melted butter to start with.
Yeah.
You always start with melted or
I
room
did
temperature?
with this recipe, not with anything else.
Okay, thank you.
It just makes it so fabulous to mix it together. I mean, I suppose you could go with room temperature if you're going to use the mixer. I don't want to spend that much time doing it. But I melted this because it just makes it easy. And then you just press it into this pan. And really, we're going to throw this in the oven with the pumpkin bars, and we are going to leave it in there for about 8 minutes or so. When it starts to puff up, I'll pull it out. This may look like a small pan, but it really, they're so rich that you don't want to cut them very big and everybody can just get a nub. I'm gonna walk over to the oven again, pop these in. And we'll wait a couple minutes for those. While we're waiting, does anyone have any questions? Everybody, go ahead.
How long do you leave those in the oven then?
Those will be about 8 minutes till they start to puff up.
At what
then
temp?
Add the toppings.
Oh, and at what temperature?
It's right in there at the 325, but I have a convection oven. Who has convection ovens?
I do, but I don't know if I like it or not.
Okay, well, if you don't like it, 350 on conventional oven temperature.
Okay.
That's all you need to do. Any more questions about these spices? This is I will show you. I thought I was going to run out. I'm going to grab a spice out of the cupboard. I don't want to like say anything bad about McCormick at all because I relied on them for 150 years. The smell of these, the Vietnamese cinnamon, I did the smell test of both of these. And this to me smells like perfume. You know what I mean? That kind of heady perfume flavor. And this just smells just like strong cinnamon. And so, you know, it really is worthwhile to get something a little better if you can.
Do you think Watkin products are any good?
You know, I had some of those years ago, Joe. I think they are. I think they're a quality ingredient. But that, just look at how expensive that vanilla is. Have you bought their vanilla? So you know, it's really expensive. They have it at Menards too. I noticed they have a whole kiosk of it at Menards too. So I know they've branched out. I oftentimes wonder about all of their spices, but you know, when you go and you buy a tiny little spice jar in the store and you're paying $3 or $4 for this little jar of this random brand, and then you can go to Pecans and get a bigger jar like this for the same amount, and it's just a wonderful flavor. There's another little spice I want to tell you about. It doesn't have anything to do with this baking, but those of you that saw one of my bread classes, I did some bread with Sunny Paris. This has no salt in it. I add this into the dough of the bread, and I also, when I do an egg wash, I sprinkle this over the top. It has just a wonderful fragrances, and it's one of these things that if you're kind of trying to watch your salt, which apparently we're supposed to now, it's called Sunny Paris, and that's the hard part about going into Pecans right now. I just went in there a couple weeks ago. Is that they don't have the sniffing jars anymore because we're all that stuff. So, and it's hard because unless you know what you're buying, or you know, there's no way for you to like get something and think, oh, I'm going to try this. It smells so good, because they're not letting us smell it, which I understand. I totally understand. So it's something that you're just going to have to go on recommendations from other people as far as what they like, what they enjoy, and making certain that it's something that you're going to use. I can get pretty carried away in that store, but they had this as a sample for $2. I could get 3 of them for $2 a piece, so I did. They have all sorts of little things that they do for you.
Margo, this is Carol. Can you say a little bit about the shelf life of spices?
Shelf life of spices. You know what? I'm trying to think if these guys have any expiration date on them. I've gone to my sister's house and cleaned out she had them for 10 years. I thought it was time. It doesn't have an expiration date. I think that you can have them for a long time. I would guess that the only way that they would spoil is if they smell rancid when you open them. You know, I can't imagine that they would go bad. But I'm not an expert on that, so you'll have to Google it.
I just did, it said about 4 years.
Oh, 4 years, thank you. So you have 4 years. If you spend that $4, it's $1 a year. It'll be gone before then, long gone. Okay, I think we're gonna check the oven and see if the pecan bars are getting done. They are. They're not quite as puffy as I'd like them, but we're gonna proceed anyway. So what we're gonna do is add the rest of the ingredients. This is sort of like a picture. So this is like real estate. You wanna make sure that every single piece of this real estate looks pretty. And so you wanna make sure everybody gets chocolate chips. And you can see these chips are a little bit bigger. Everybody gets pecans. I use whole pecans. Some people can buy the chopped up pecans. I happen to like the whole ones. I think the over the top look sometimes is good. I used to tell the kids at the shop, it's all about the presentation. And if Corey asked his kids right now tonight, what did Margo always say? And they'll say, she said it was all about the presentation. So I guess I've used about 7 or 8 ounces. So it might be about a cup. And I keep my pecans in the fridge in a plastic container to keep them fresh. I can actually set this top is a marble top, so it's not going to hurt the surface. In this kitchen, we had an island for over the years. We had a table and chairs in the beginning with the linoleum countertop and the one cupboard. And then the kids moved out. Tyler went to college, and we quickly got this pub table and leather chairs for the kitchen to make it look like we never had kids live here before. It was awesome. The one place in the house that everybody gathers is the kitchen. So it doesn't matter how big or how small your kitchen is, everybody wants to be with you. And this is where the smells are. This is where the love happens. I have 10 grandkids and they've all been on this counter. They've all been cracking eggs. We've gotten eggs on the floor, on the carpet. Okay, I'm going to show you what this looks like because this is just beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. Our real estate is looking good, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Now we're gonna pour the floured caramel. Your brand of caramel doesn't really matter. Mine is a value brand, it's a Hershey's. They have Ghirardelli, they have all sorts of fancy stuff. But you don't need fancy, you just need yummy caramel. You can make your own caramel too. I know people make their own caramel. So you want to get in all the nooks and crannies, and we bake this only till it starts to bubble on the edges, and then it's done because the crust is already done or partially done because out of the time element. All right, going back in the oven. This is really pretty because it just glistens. I don't know if you can see, it's just shiny. Okay. I'm gonna ask Stacy to turn the camera, if you will. We're gonna make the frosting.
Margo, can I put coconut on those chocolate pecan bars?
Yes, please.
How's that?
Good. Maybe, yeah, that's good. Go back just a hair. Perfect. Yes, please, Cindy.
Did you hear me?
Do you wanted to comment on them?
Oh, can you put coconut on them?
Seriously, do you want to put coconut on those?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to try.
Why don't you make the layer bars? So you got the graham cracker and the butter and the evaporated milk or the sweetened condensed. Then you can put coconut on them. I think go ahead.
You used to make ones that had coconut on them, and those were like my favorite bars.
Well, and you know what I did too is I did ridiculous things with those too. So I make the probably dark chocolate. Then I would do nuts, and then I would do butterscotch chips, cinnamon chips. I do a crazy amount of stuff. That's like a candy bar. So then it would be a thick layer of coconut, and then you bake it, and the coconut would get really brown and really pretty. Those bars are just that. Lyle and I don't need those here now at this house. Okay.
I don't need them either, just one.
Yeah, these pecan caramel bars are going home with Stacy. Yeah, so they're not staying here either.
Lucky me.
Yes, lucky her. Okay, we're gonna, well, the magic of time, we have a pan of bars ready to frost. And you can just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the magic of this kitchen. Look at that. They're ready to go. So we're gonna use Philadelphia cream cheese, yes, Philadelphia, and butter. And we're gonna drop it in here. We're gonna whip this, and we want it at room temperature. And Joe, I would never melt this stuff to make it softer. That would kind of ruin it, I think. And so I'm just gonna whip this up for maybe like 30 seconds. So we're gonna be a little noisy here for a second.
8 ounces of cream cheese and how much butter?
Pardon?
8 ounces of cream cheese and how much butter?
You know what? It's 16 ounces of cream cheese and it's a cup of butter.
Okay, whoa.
And that's for the big pan though. Remember, you can do half of this. So what I'm suggesting you do for the holidays, if you're gonna make these, I would make these for not to be in competition with your pies and your cheesecakes and that kind of stuff at the time of Thanksgiving, but to have these later in the pantry to pull out when you're doing sandwiches later, or you're doing some salads later in the day, or leftovers, then pull them out and you can cut them. This pan at the shop, I would cut it in 20, and they're a nice, the 20 is a nice size piece. But when I cater these, I cater them out at 40. So those are a nice normal bar piece, okay? So I cut them in 40, and I am saying you probably can freeze them. So now we're gonna add 4 cups of powdered sugar. Yeah, there, see? Almost. We're gonna add a little bit of vanilla. I'd say a couple teaspoons of vanilla. And I'm not gonna put the cream in yet until I see how the consistency is. And you can see I have powdered sugar everywhere. I also want to mention to you, this is my 6th mixer. I was supposed to get a commercial mixer when I first started, and I think I was on my knees in the Wabasha County Health Department saying, please let me use my KitchenAid mixer because I'm not going to mass produce. Please let me. And she couldn't stand it. She wanted me off my knees. So she said, you can use your KitchenAid. So 6 mixers later, okay, we're gonna take the sides down, and now I'm gonna add a little bit of cream. And the reason I can't tell you how much cream to add is because it's however you like your frosting. So I think I just added a tablespoon. Now we're gonna turn it up. You want to get all the lumps out, but if you don't get the lumps out, that's okay, because I have a secret way of doing the frosting to hide everything.
I was just gonna ask you, do you sift your powdered sugar first?
No.
No, okay.
Do I do any pussy things? Anybody that's worked with me or knows me knows that putz is not in my vocabulary. And my sister, the last one that we did, my sisters were making fun of me because they're like, she doesn't measure anything. So I measured everything today. And I know my sisters are watching, or they're gonna watch this. So that's a shout out to my sister. I also want to do a shout out to Mimi from Nordstrom's, who was my great customer service person the other day. She was great. I'm just doing a little shout out. Mimi from Nordstrom's at Mall of America. You can turn this. Because she's gonna watch this too, and she comes to Lake City.
Thank you, Mark. I'm off to the dentist.
You what? You're off to the dentist? Oh, good
I'm off
luck.
to the dentist.
I hope it's just
Thank
a
you.
cleaning. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. We're good. Thanks, Stacy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna frost these. I'm looking at the time for the pumpkin bars in the oven. We're still good. So we're gonna frost these. Look at all this frosting. You're gonna think it's too much. I think part of the charm of these,
Never too much.
yeah, I think part of the charm of these is the frosting. I have a really good friend that said to me, oh, she goes, it's the frosting. She said, and part of it's the vanilla. This is straight up vodka vanilla in this frosting. It brings out and heightens all of the flavors of everything. There is a couple little lumps of cream cheese in here, but I'm gonna show you how to make it real pretty.
Marcy. Marcy, I have a question about the pumpkin can.
Yeah,
Where did you get those? Do they have any in the grocery or you have to go particular place?
Rochester Restaurant, Jan. Rochester Restaurant is out on the Beltway in Rochester. So
Huh?
if you know where the Mayo Clinic Credit Union is? On the
Huh?
Beltway, about by Sam's?
Yeah.
Okay, just keep going and you go up a hill and it's not at the Hy-Vee turnoff, but it's at the next turnoff. And you go down into, it's a commercial park area, but it says Rochester Restaurant. And it's open to the public. So you can walk right in, when you walk in the door, the pans are right there. They're right there and the lids are right there. And you don't have to go hunting around for them. But there's dozens of things in there that you could use for your home. And they're very good value. There isn't anything that's, all of the equipment that we bought for our shop, all of the big equipment, they were just super great people. There's also Total Restaurant, which is over by where Trademark Furniture used to be on the frontage road off of 14. They also have these pans as well. I don't know how much they cost there, but they are absolutely another wonderful place where I've gotten lots and lots of things over the years.
What about the pumpkin can?
The pumpkin, you can get that at any grocery store.
Oh, okay.
I either got these at Hy-Vee or Walmart, or you could get it in Lake City, folks. You could get it right here in Lake City.
Okay. Thank you, Margo.
You're welcome, Jan. So good to see you. I can't believe you're not traveling still.
Next month.
Yeah. Next month. Jan is one of my heroes in my life. She's inspirational. She and her husband traveled here from Vietnam in very, very scary circumstances with a baby. And if I talk about it anymore, I'm gonna cry. So I'm not gonna, okay? You know.
That's fine.
We worked together lots of years. I'm smoothing this out kind of a little funky, but I want to just show you, you can frost it this way, which is really pretty. Or we're gonna hide the lumps, okay? Not that there's a lot of lumps. This is how we're gonna do it. And you're gonna just make it look just fabulous. Just take a little. And it is absolutely wonderful. And guess what you get to do? You get to put the lump in the middle. And who's the lucky person that gets that one? All right, I smell the pecan bars. Here we go with those. Let's go get them. And these are the pecan bars. I don't know if you can see them. They're bubbling and what'll happen is they're all bubbling up right now, but then it'll settle in and it'll be very, very glossy and very pretty. So these are the bars. And that's the demo. We also have the other Pecan Bars that are in there. The one very important point that I want to give you is these need to be fully cooled before you frost them or the frosting's gonna melt. So I made these this morning quite early so that they had the opportunity to completely cool. And I am impatient like that too, and I've screwed them up a couple times. So, but they are just best when you're completely cooled. So that's the magic of being videoed. You have stuff made ahead of time. So the tips of the soapy water, all the dishes are in the sink now. The mixer's going in there. My counter's completely cleared off except for the cloud of powdered sugar, and that's the demo today. And I think Stacy's going to take over right now.
Well, I was just gonna ask, are there any other final questions first?
Yeah. Any other final questions?
So you did not use the cream in?
I did.
You did use the cream.
Just, I felt like I wanted, you can see, I think the cream also adds to the glistening of this. I added 1 tablespoon. I didn't measure it, but I know enough that I added 1 tablespoon.
Okay.
If you accidentally add too much, just add a little more powdered sugar. You can scoop up the sugar that's on the counter or on the mixer, just put it in there. It's good. Any other questions before Stacy takes over? I want to thank you guys all for coming. I want you to, Cindy and I were at our cousin's funeral on Saturday. Can I mention this, Cindy?
Yep.
Okay. And she was young, and she just really touched our lives. She was bigger than life. John Creasel got up and did from Rochester, did a little tribute to her about her generosity and her kindness, friendship. And we all were there together. And, there doesn't have to be tears at that time. And I think Cindy and I talked about this, and all my sisters were there, my siblings, everybody was there, cousins. Because you don't have to cry when you leave everything at love. And we did with her, didn't we?
Yep.
Yep.
We should.
So as the holidays open up again and we all get to be with our family again, I can't tell you what that means to me. I know it means a great deal to all of you. And so I wish you guys really lovely baking and yummy smells and lots of love, and leave it at love. Always leave it at love. So love y'all.
Wait, don't go yet. Hold on. All right, so no, stand over.
I will, okay.
All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in today. As I mentioned earlier, you can find a link to this out on our website if you want to rewatch the recording as you're baking. Say, oh, what was I supposed to do? And then you can pull it back up and check it. And resources, the recipes, I did email everyone in that little, I didn't email, I sent a little note via the chat. If you want copies of the recipes, if you're local, you could stop at the library, pick them up. Otherwise, just shoot me an email. I can get those to you, or what was the other option? I'll post a link next to the video so you can also download them there. But right now we're gonna do it's a drawing. Margo, I'm just gonna have you, I wrote everybody's names down based on your little pictures that you have up there. So I'm just going to have you pick a number 1 through 16. And then that will be the person who gets the DVD of the Great British Baking Show. For whoever that person is, if you could just use my email to send me your name and address so that I can get this sent to you in case you're not local. If you're local, you can just stop in the library and I'll have it set aside for you. So
okay, number 8.
Number 8 is Anne's iPad. So Anne, whoever you are.
Is that?
Oh, is it?
That's me.
Yeah. Okay. So Anne, you can just stop by the library and you can pick that up. I'll have that.
Congratulations, Anne.
So again, thank you, everybody. And
thank you.
For information on Christmas Goes Nuts, we'll be figuring out a date for that, and I'll have that information out to you soon. All right, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy
Thanks,
Halloween.
Margo. Thanks, Stacy.
You too.
Oh, so good to see everybody. Take care.
Thank you.